Emperor Marcus Aurelius reigned as the singular most powerful man on earth during the height of the Roman Empire. He commanded legions whose might was spoken of with terror and respect in every corner of the known world, from Britannia's cold shores to the arid deserts of the East. If he had wished, he possessed the absolute authority to indulge every physical appetite, to summon any woman he desired into his chambers, to be perpetually intoxicated, and to spend his days immersed in continuous, lavish revelry. It is profoundly difficult for the modern mind to grasp the sheer scope of absolute, unchecked power. History is littered with figures, both ancient rulers and contemporary leaders, who, once achieving this apex, proved wholly incapable of managing it. They inevitably succumbed to corruption, descending into slavery under the heavy chains of their own greed and insatiable hunger for perpetual acquisition. Yet Marcus Aurelius stood apart. He was the reigning emperor of Rome, acutely and constantly conscious of the fact that limitless momentary pleasure was instantaneously available to him. In stark contrast to his infamous son, Commodus, who would later wallow in decadence, Marcus deliberately averted his gaze from the easy path, turning away from the state-sanctioned orgies, the debilitating excessive use of alcohol, and the sadistic, blood-soaked spectacles of human and animal suffering in the Colosseum that served as entertainment for the Roman elite. His private struggle, his determination to maintain discipline amid boundless temptation, was chronicled in his intensely personal notebooks, never intended for public eyes, known today as Meditations. These reflective writings would later become a foundational text for Stoicism, a philosophical school of thought originating more than 2 millennia ago. The Stoics observed that from the perspective of the human individual, existence could be neatly categorized into 2 distinct non-overlapping spheres: the sphere of things we ultimately do not control, and the much smaller sphere of things we inherently control. The great Stoic philosopher Epictetus, a former slave himself, begins his manual, the Enchiridion, by establishing this fundamental tenet of Stoicism: the vast majority of life's events are simply not up to us. Consider the external realities that shape our lives: our friends and colleagues, the fidelity of our intimate partners, the volatility of the global economy, fluctuating metrics like the number of likes on a social media post, the often absurd pronouncements of politicians, or the inevitable deterioration and decay of our physical bodies. Yes, we possess the capacity to influence these matters. We can work diligently, nurture relationships, and care for our health. But even if we execute every decision perfectly, aligning ourselves with the highest standards of prudence, the economy can still suffer a cataclysmic collapse, our wealth can be seized or lost through unforeseen events, and those closest to us can cheat, abandon us, or be taken by death. At the end of the day, there is nothing, absolutely nothing, we can do to entirely exclude the possibility of misfortune. While this realization might initially sound starkly depressing or fatalistically pessimistic, take heart. The Stoics assure us that crucial aspects of our lives remain firmly within our moral jurisdiction. According to Epictetus, these precious, controllable aspects include our considered judgments and opinions, our intentions and deliberate actions, or, to put it most simply, the internal position we consciously choose to adopt towards the external world and the circumstances that befall us. The core instruction of Stoicism is thus: focus all your energy and attention on the things within your control, and cultivate a reasoned indifference, a contempt even, for the things that lie outside of it. Take the example of a person who is confronting a severe, debilitating illness. That individual holds no control over the progression of the disease itself. Medical professionals can attempt to mitigate the symptoms or employ cutting-edge healing techniques, hoping that the patient recovers, but the final, definitive outcome is ultimately not within their power. Nevertheless, this person maintains the sacred right to decide which position he or she will take in response to the situation. When the reality of the sickness is fully accepted, when the possibility of death is embraced not as a tragedy but as a natural certainty, a human being can attain an astonishing, robust state of inner peace and equilibrium. This, it must be stressed, is philosophical guidance regarding attitude, not a substitute for clinical medical advice. Furthermore, a mind grounded in composure and clarity is able to act in a rational and logical manner, enabling the individual to make superior life choices, which may in turn subtly increase the overall chance of recovery or improve the quality of remaining life. Stoic ethics are structured around a set of interlocking virtues, centered on wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. I have not uncovered a succinct, rigid formula that perfectly encapsulates these values, structured perhaps like a Stoic 10 Commandments. What I have definitively observed is that Stoicism consistently directs us to a life lived in accordance with nature. Nature here refers not merely to forests and rivers, but to the greater cosmic whole, the logos, and our specific rational role within it as human beings. From our innate rational potential, we are ethically bound to act for the ultimate benefit of that whole. We must never struggle against the natural, inevitable course of things, but rather embrace and dissent to it. In opposition to the common misconception, Stoics are emphatically not beings devoid of emotion. They recognize emotion, pathe, as an inherent human characteristic, but one that must be rigorously examined and subsequently checked or tramped by the higher faculty of reason. This is because it is not the initial emotion or sensation itself that dictates our mood or suffering, but rather the internal judgment or position we take towards that emotion. This approach offers significant therapeutic power, not only heightening one's awareness of internal emotional states, but also allowing one to perceive them merely as sensations that arrive and subsequently dissipate, much like the ceaseless waves rolling onto the shore. By adopting this detached viewpoint, one avoids becoming utterly overwhelmed or capsized by powerful feelings. Contemporary Stoic practitioners focus on a number of practical mental exercises to cultivate this elusive inner peace. One of the most potent is the premeditatio malorum, or the deliberate negative visualization. Emperor Marcus Aurelius, managing the colossal bureaucracy and constant crises of the empire, was daily confronted by all manner of difficult, scheming, and unpleasant people. By beginning each day with a detailed negative visualization, he mentally inoculated himself against these upcoming confrontations. He would remind himself, preemptively softening the shock of human failings. Today I shall be meeting with interference, ingratitude, insolence, disloyalty, ill will, and selfishness, all of them due to the offender's ignorance of what is good or evil. A dedicated Stoic constantly reminds himself that life is terrifyingly temporary, an exercise known as memento mori, remember that you will die. This profound awareness serves as a powerful spur to action, ensuring he will not squander finite time on trivial pursuits. It also, and here is my own slight interpretation, encourages a certain philosophical lightness, a refusal to take the small dramas of temporary existence too seriously. Another powerful exercise is called the view from above, a cosmic contemplation that forces us to visualize ourselves from an immense vantage point, observing our entire life and planet reduced to a speck against the staggering vastness of the universe. That realization of our smallness, our fundamental unimportance relative to the cosmos, is a source of tremendous power, a tool the Stoics understood very well. Life is short, fleeting. That inevitable reality makes it imperative that we deliberately point our precious life energy towards essential and important virtues, while granting full permission to leave the unimportant things alone. Especially in the current age, saturated as it is with digital noise, ceaseless stimuli, and constant distractions, Stoicism stands as an invaluable, reliable instrument capable of providing clear ethical guidance so that we do not drown in the overwhelming sea of the non-essential. Thank you for watching.